Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the experimental series. Today is more like an advanced version of the first episode. In the first episode, what we created was a simple card that expanded on hover, but in this one, it is quite a lot reversed. And I also teased it in that episode. So, see this. This time I've changed the company from Koenigsegg to Lamborghini. And as you can see, when we hover over the logo, the car Lamborghini Aventador is appearing itself. I have put this button, although this button does nothing at all. But we may do some things afterwards. So let's first teach you how to create it. So obviously we'll begin with creating another folder, which is not episode 2, experiment 2. So experiment 2. And we'll name it index2.html and sorry for that, and the other is style2.css. So I'll close the sidebar, create another window, not window, like separation. Now I'll close this one. So obviously we'll begin with the boilerplate. Here it is, and I'll put a link to the style sheet, which is our CSS file. Then I'll name it Lamborghini Aventador. Also, we'll have to put some images, which I have already kept here. So I have to put this image in experiment 2 and this one again in experiment 2. Now today we would be creating a section. I would first show you what a section is, and I'll name it card. I don't usually use section for such small projects, but I felt like I should in this one. So I'll just close the live server and restart it. And as you can see, I'll show it in the other way using the inspect. So currently that is the body and that is the section. We haven't given section in sizes, so it isn't that visible. So I'll first show you what a section looks like. So first we'll migrate to CSS. I'll do body afterwards. We need to do the card first. So for the card, I'll write position relative display flex, then again justify content center. Like these are the constants whenever I'm coding, they have to come. Then we'll give the width, and I would give it a width of 300 pixels, and same for the height, 300 pixels. And then I'll give it a border radius. Like I'm simply giving it the values that we'll require in the end. So I'm simply writing the code that we require later on. And then we'll give it a box shadow. It isn't necessary to give a box shadow, but it just gives a better effect. We have to put comma. Wait, I don't have. It really gets confusing sometimes that where we have to put a comma and where we do not have to. I just forget some things because occasionally I'm not one of those who pay attention to details, although I should. Now, after the box shadow, we have to give a background, which we can give simply as color, or we can give some RGBA or RGB value. Now we have to put a transition. I'm straight away putting all the things we would require. Here all means that all these properties would change in the transition. like whichever we want to change in a simpler language, that if we are later on changing the width and height, which we have to, then it will affect all those properties. We have just simply given it some time that is fixed. And I would also do cursor pointer. What cursor pointer does is, let me show you. Like, you can see it is in a arrow shape right now, but when we go over it, it becomes a hand. This is what cursor pointer means, that it will change the cursor. And this is what a section looks like. It is simply like a div, but section is mostly used as a bigger thing than the div. Although there is no objection in using divs. I just felt like using a section, so I did use it. Now we'll import our first image, which I would name, like we have to give it a class name, so logo. And the name of the image is, as you can see, this is the name of the image. I'll just save it. This looks big, I know that. Now we have to create a div. And the name of the div I would give is text section. Okay, so in the text section, we would first give obviously a heading, which would be Lamborghini invented. And then we'll give a paragraph tag, which is p tag. And here I would simply give lorem, and the rest is predefined. Now we have to also give a button. It isn't necessary to give one, but as I said before that I have given it. I was just trying out that should I add a button, and I felt like yes, it would look good. So I would write no more. Now we have to put, like, it should be outside the div. So outside the div we have to put the image. I'll also give it a class. There is no problem in where you give the class to an image. Like, it could be before source, it could be after source. There is no such hard and fast rule that you have to put it afterwards or before. I would name it car, and this is the image. This would really look like a havoc, as you can see. Let me just, for some time I'm just deleting it, like I'll paste it later on. And this is what it looks like after I put the code back. You know, it's in the corner. So to bring it in the center, obviously we have to do the same thing that I and you are supposed to do. Display flex. But okay, let's begin from this only. Justify content center, align items center. So now it would be in center. As you can see, it is centered. Now we also have to give it a margin of 0. And then I would do height, which I would give 100 VH. You'd be wondering why, although we are using align items, but still it is there. The reason is that the body tag is only of that size. Like you can see, this is the body tag area alone. If body was completely till here, then it would be in center. That's the problem which we are going to solve now. Or you can say we have already solved it because I had already written it. So I'll give it a color white. Okay, let's save it. And now you can see it is more centered than before. Now I'll work on the button. Like I am working with buttons after a long time, so I am just giving it some preference. So 15 pixels. Then comes border, which should be at none. Then is color, and I would give it a color of yellow. Then comes font size. I would give it a font size of 20 pixels because it would look quite sufficient. Then font weight. Bold. What was this? After this, we would give it a background, which I would give it a greenish color, but I will give it an RGB. And I would give it value 1, comma 74, comma 1. And now I should give it a border radius, which I'll give off 100%. No, let's give it only 15 per, not percent, let's do it in pixels. You would be wondering like the padding is 15, etc. It doesn't matter. I'm still giving the same value as padding so that it just looks quite smooth. So now is transition, and again we will be giving the value all 0. Let's do it 3 seconds, and always ease in out. And as you can see, here is the button. So now I'll do what we wanted to look like on hover. So on hover it should be, I won't begin with padding. Also I haven't written here hover. Yeah, now it's better. And first we want its background. No, let's keep the background color same. Like why should we change it? We would change the color to white, like the text color from yellow to white. Also cursor, pointer, and let's make it a little bit bigger, which is 1.1 scale. And as you can see now, when we hover over it, its size is increasing. Now I'll go to, let's work on the logo, because logo is quite a significant thing in this one. 200 pixels, and I'll give it a height of auto, so that it itself figures out how it should look like. Because I think the Lamborghini symbol has a higher height value than the width value. So let's allow the computer to figure it out itself. So pointer, you can leave this cursor pointer thing, but I'm just doing it. It isn't a necessary thing, it just looks better. Although all of us have different perspectives, so it is on you using it or not. Again, we'll give a transition, all 0.5 seconds this time, and again ease in out. That's enough for logo. Now I think we should go to, let's also give the card hover property. So card hover, and the card hover should make its border radius, wait, let's keep it the same as the original. No, but wait, I got confused in the button and the card, so I'll give 15 pixels here. And now we'll give it a width of 800 pixels and a height of like 400 pixels would be enough. Okay, now the next thing is card hover, and now for the logo. So for the logo, like let's do scale 0. It will simply make it smaller on hover. Like currently it is out of line, but we'll soon take care of it. Like when we hover over it, as you can see what happens to it. So now we should work on the text section. In case you didn't understood where the text section is, it is here all the time. Now you can see it and now you can't. So let's work on the text section. I'll work on the car at the end. So in the text section, we would first give it a position, which is absolute. Then top 10 pixels and left 20 pixels. Then the font size, I would give it the same value as the button, so 20 pixels. Then the width, which is 300 pixels. And no, we do not even need the height. Opacity to 0, because we don't want it to be visible. So our button will also disappear now when we save it. Transition all 0.3 seconds, and as always ease in out, save, and you can't see the button or text now. As you can see, it has disappeared. It isn't appearing back because we haven't given the hover property, which we'll give it now. So dot card hover and dot text section. So let's simply take the opacity to 1. So save it. Okay, there is a problem. Glad I saw it before. So as you can see, now it is appearing in a really good manner. Now we'll work on the car. So car, and again the position has to be absolute, because we want its position to be fixed and it shouldn't be like wandering around. So 20 pixels. Now we have to give it a right value, which I would give minus 100 pixels. And the height should be at auto. And I would give it a width of 600 would be sufficient. So 600 pixels. Then object fit, and it should be at cover. And again the opacity has to be at 0. Now comes the transition, not transform, transition. All 0.3 seconds. Ease in out. And now it's turn for the hover properties. So car, not car. I had read card. I got just confused. So opacity should be 1. Let's save it, and it's done. Simply it is done. As you can see, the car is a little bit outside, which looks good, and as we have given that shadow, and there was some shadow in the image itself, so it is looking really good. And as you can see how the logo is disappearing and appearing just in the center. So as I was saying that we haven't done anything for the button, so let's do one thing. Let's search and let's see where the let's find the Wikipedia page for it. So Wikipedia, here it is, and now I'll tell you how to link these. So I would go to this, then here in the button, all we have to do is write A and paste it. Cut and paste it. Not tab, because I prefer to have such indentations. Now we'll close it. Now when we open it and click on no more, as you can see, we are straight ahead getting diverted. The only problem is that now it looks purple in color, which isn't looking good. So we can simply eradicate that problem by .btn, add dot, I wrote comma, then a text decoration none. Save it. And let's give the color here. Let's copy it. Let's paste it here. Save. And as you can see, now it is just as we wanted. Although we have to do a slight change, which is we have to add the hover property for this one. So, and now all we have to write is color and then white. Let's save it. And as you can see, now it is as normal as it could be. And when we click over it, we are straight ahead directed to the Lamborghini Aventador page on the Wikipedia. So this is the original one, and the only difference you can see is that I have given the background color black. Okay, there seems to be a little bit problem. So for some reason, okay. Let's give it again text decoration then, although I don't think it was required. Like, yes, now it's done. And if you want an exact replica of it, then simply write background color black, save, and we are done. Although I would suggest to use it without the background color black, because first of all it will differentiate the card, and also that effect of the car that was coming outside of the car, that was looking good according to me. And that is the reason we shouldn't use overflow hidden in this one, because it would just cut the car from there. So this is it for today. You can again have a look on it, and it looks good. Like, no one can differentiate that there is this difference, that whenever you click on this one nothing would happen, but when you click on this one you will be directed to a link. So subscribe to the channel and like the video if you learned something from it. Meet you in the next video. Till then, bye.